What's up, everybody? This is your boy Jeremy, joined by Bryan, Dave, and Ray. They already said their little bit, so if you want to hear the rest of the podcast of this episode, you can go check that out. Now it is up, and we talk about, like Red Dead and GTA and like a bunch of random stuff, actually. And then we talk about like a bunch of the announcements for 2021, like Summer Games Fest, Day of the Dev, things like that. So if you want to go check that out, it's available now. This one is going to be all about Loki. In our new segment, a low-key discussion about Loki, the show. Wait, a low-key discussion of Loki, the show about Loki, I think. Something like that. I think I say it anyway. So, yeah, listen for that. But yeah, hope you like this episode and check us out some more. Link in the Discord. Or Discord link in the description. Shit. Can I say like two things quick, because I don't know anything about that, and I want to say, just ask these questions quick before you guys start talking about like episode or issue 462 of Loki's anal cavity or something. I don't know why that came up in my head
Ask your
first.
question. Go ahead.
So it's, I don't know where it is on the timeline, because it could be anywhere, because they're like past, present, or whatever. And like time means nothing. It's just the sacred timeline, which I love. But the fact that they don't, like, nothing happens to the Avengers after they like destroy the time space, like the timeline in the end game, by bringing.
Was supposed to happen.
Yeah. Shut up. Hold on. Does that mean that this will be like one season and like the TVA will cease to exist after this episode? Like, does it blow up?
No.
Because so that was supposed to happen, even though they brought someone from a different timeline into their timeline.
Said that. Like he's like, it's not my fault. It's the Avengers. They were the ones who were, mucking about in the timeline. If it was,
but that Loki doesn't know about everything that happens in Endgame. He just knows that a different Avengers came back from the thing. He just knows that got messed up. He doesn't know that like Thanos from another dimension or another timeline got brought into theirs. So I'm thinking, I was wondering, like, if because he came in.
All you have to do is realize that anything that they want to happen and stick with continuity is part of the sacred timeline, and that is what the TVA is out to protect.
So they could be.
They're not trying to protect or keep people from doing time travel. There's a certain timeline that is supposed to happen that they have to keep, because it's like making a copy of a copy. There's so many copies out there, and once you have so many different timelines, they all become like degraded and less stable.
They fight each other for dominance,
for competition. So like, they don't want any competing timelines.
What it comes down to is, say for instance, Tony goes back in time and he's supposed to get the Tesseract from the shield holding facility, runs into his father. All of that happens, but right when he is about to like say goodbye and hug his dad and everything, the chick from Community comes back and's like, these guys don't belong here, there's something wrong, and it shifts the fucking timeline, right? The TVA would show up and stop her from doing that.
Okay.
Right.
Because the original alteration is the alteration that needed to happen for Tony to have like the closure that he needed to then go on in Endgame and give him the old "I am Iron Man."
Okay.
You know what I mean?
In
so like
my mind,
it's the other 14 million and however many timelines that Doctor Strange looked at, and all of the other ones were the ones that they lost in. Those would be all the timelines that they'd be trying to stop versus the one where they win.
Those were possibilities, like what his action there would then make that timeline. They were all different possibilities of what could happen.
And if he picked the wrong one, he would have been a variant, and the TVA would have showed up to stop him.
Correct.
Okay. Because in my mind, I was like, oh, well, if they didn't stop the Avengers from like ripping an entire person like entire villain into their timeline. That means they by that time that happened, they would have had like disintegrated. So
Yeah, well,
and then
Thanos
No,
had to be ended
coming
because
over-
without the universe, there is no sacred timeline.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So they were protecting themselves.
Okay. And then my other question was, or other thing I thought of was, they're definitely like, I feel like they're evil.
The TVA?
Because I think at some point they need you to like root for Loki, and then they keep stopping showing you what happens when they drop that grenade thing, and then they reset the timeline. They always like cut away from that. So I feel like there's like something darker lurking
There
under the
is.
surface than they're implying. Like I feel like the reset the timeline means they vaporize these people or whatever to keep them from like recognizing that Loki had popped up or whatever. And like when they're like telling the kid to go outside, that kid's dead. There's no way he's not dead.
in
With the
that
gum or
particular
whatever.
timeline, possibly, but I don't think it's a statement of good or evil. It's a necessity.
So like they're like what's it called? Like
So, I
when
think
energy dissipates.
What you're not completely getting is that the Loki that we're seeing right now is not the Loki that had the redemption arc throughout
Mhm.
Ragnarok.
Right.
Yeah.
This is the Loki that's fresh off of trying to take over the world.
Mhm.
He's still like hasn't made that journey yet. As much of the journey as he did get, to the point where he like tried to stop Thanos, obviously.
Basically, this is another redemption arc for him.
But
Yeah.
there's also a separate Loki that we don't know the story about. That
Oh, the
somewhere
one they're
went
chasing.
the wrong way somewhere else,
Mhm.
and instead of what this one's doing is kind of realizing, because he looked through like what would have
The
happened
desk.
to him.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like he's kind of had a little bit of a jump start towards that redemption.
Yeah.
Whereas this other one is going to be like, if it ends up actually being Loki, which who knows, but
I have a theory. Yep.
Is it the female Loki?
I think it's Lady Loki.
Yeah, that's what everybody thinks it is. Yeah.
Oh, Lady Loki's Loki though.
I didn't see that, but I saw like the article about like shifting like his sexual or like gender or whatever. And
Well,
then if it's
when
or
he's
whatever,
being
it's like,
processed
that's
at the TVA, if you
It's
notice
fluid.
on some of his paperwork, when it says gender, it says fluid.
Because it's true. He's never been depicted as one or the other.
Right.
Well,
a
he
lot
has,
of-
but he can shift between them at will.
Correct.
Yeah.
Sometimes
It's the same. The same is said for Mystique. Mystique, they actually don't know what her gender is. Some people think she was actually born a male and has stayed a female just to be able to manipulate people. But
Who knows?
Who knows?
But so that was my only two things really.
Like,
So
yeah, the ending of the variant timelines I think is going to become unraveled because we need Multiverse of Madness to happen and Quantumania to happen. Quantumania is going to have to do with Kang the Conqueror, who
Correct.
is the master manipulator of the timelines. He's like the conqueror of time.
Okay.
So you have that, and then multiverse. Like there's two different ways you can get multiverses. One is just it isn't a divergent timeline; it's just a parallel dimension. But I think they're going to play off of each other and kind of
like the ones you saw in Doctor Strange, like the Dark World,
Dark Dimension.
Dark Dimension.
Dark Dimension, or
so it's like a multiverse, but it's not like a divergent timeline. It's just like a whole other like.
Well,
right.
Another thing that they said was that the TVA did or something. They were talking about something that there used to be multiverses, and now there's only one singular one.
Yeah.
I think Loki's going to cause enough of a disturbance in the time, in the TVA, that it's going to cause the issues in all of the other early Phase 4 stuff until Doctor Strange and whoever can fix shit up. So I think all this might be correct. I also think that the bombs are going to play a big deal because that might destroy the sacred timeline and fragment it immediately. Like whoever it is collecting those bombs.
Evil Loki.
Yeah, to make a bigger ass explosion. I'm pretty sure. So we'll see what happens. So,
but I
think was there any like
evil inherently? No, I think that the TVA is neutral as far as their own perspective.
So it's like nature, where like it's not good or evil, but like sometimes like a bird will murder a goat or something, which
they
sucks.
Look at it as like this is the sacred timeline. Any variation off of that, whether good or bad, for better or for worse, is a divergence and must be stopped. So it's not about good or evil. You know what I mean? So much as this is the path that needs to happen. That's the way.
Okay, I can see that. So it's darker, but it's not like bad necessarily. Okay.
Yeah.
I really did like the fact that we had to watch Loki revisit his worst mistakes in his life
and see himself die.
That'd be weird.
Yeah. I think it would.
Horrifying.
That's one. That's got to be a weird experience, and two, being able to see how your story plays out, and then saying, "Well, I'm not going to go out like that." But he's supposed to be like, what they say, he's he brings change wherever he goes. He's never the hero. Right. He's a hero maker, sort of like a king maker. You know what I mean? So,
and then they showed the Avengers.
I think that might be this whole series might set up the change for whole new avenues of adventures in the rest of Phase 4.
Yeah, I think it's a interesting juxtaposition of the phrase burdened with
glorious purpose. Yeah,
glorious purpose.
Glorious.
He originally thought that meant ruling, when in reality it meant stopping Thanos from taking out all of Asgard. You know what I mean? So that they could live on. So I think that was pretty neat. Yeah. And the reutilization of the it's to keep up the illusion, to maintain some illusion of control, was just what he was projecting onto the TVA. But then he admitted that like that's his whole shtick is being cruel and doing what he does is just to maintain to cover the fact that he feels less than.
Correct. Yeah.
Growing up in Thor's shadow, who wouldn't? I'm sure the other Hemsworth brothers probably feel the same way about Chris. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The shadow of Big Brother.
I like how they were able to like accelerate Loki's growth in this episode. So it was like a whole like seasonal arc about him, like this Loki, like getting back to like a
the one that
redemption Loki. Himself. So they kind of like pushed it forward. So now it's like, okay, we're like caught up to speed basically with where he kind of was in the regular universe.
Pretty much. Yeah.
So I thought that's a cool effect.
For a second that the TVA uses Infinity Stones as paperweights.
That's pretty funny.
That's funny.
That is hilarious. Like
that was great.
And when
the way that they played it, where he was just entirely like, I don't know what to do.
It broke him.
Yeah.
That was the moment where he was like, wow, these guys are legit, and I have absolutely no chance right now.
Yeah. Like, we get Infinity Stones all the time. These guys use them as paperweights.
And in the credits, you see one of like the yellow one sitting on a stack of papers.
After we just watched 10 years of movies that culminated in the gathering of all of those stones, and a 5-year hiatus where they were just trying to figure out how to go back and stop them. Here's a drawer full.
And some guy who's like,
because that drawer full of them got erased from existence with a baton. Like they're not even around anymore. Like they
got reset. That's a reset thingy.
Yeah.
So
that isn't a reset thingy.
That's an eradication rod.
An eradication. Yeah, just like the guy that didn't have his ticket.
Oh yeah.
I thought he got reset.
Finance bro.
No, they reset you. Like
with the collars,
like after you go through the trial. That was pre-trial. That was you're just blinked. Like they showed him like burn. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like
I think it's really cool, and it shows that the TVA is not on a different level. It just doesn't count levels. It just we're outside of your reality. Please stop.
Force of nature.
Okay? Yeah. So I thought that was very cool. There were a lot of cool moments in it. I can't wait to see more.
Yeah,
honestly.
So we're gonna see the Timekeepers, right? Do you think they'll play into Phase 4 at all, like with the Eternals and all that like level of like godhood stuff? Like whoever made the Eternals, I can't remember. I was on the wiki the other day, like clicking like who the fuck
Celestials
is death and life and like time and stuff, infinity.
All of the cosmic beings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna see them.
Not in this series, no.
I mean, this is the first time they've alluded to like anything that big. I mean,
a higher plane.
Uatu, the Watchers like all standing around Stan Lee during a cameo.
Yeah,
but we haven't seen Infinity or Death or.
I want to see them bring Uatu because they already brought Uatu's dad into it.
They brought Uatu.
Who's Uatu?
Uatu is the name of the Watcher. He watches Earth because we're fascinating.
During the
Which movie was that?
Guardians of the Galaxy 2, where Stan Lee is dressed as an astronaut. He's sitting with the Watchers, telling them stories about all his different lives.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and this one time, I was a FedEx delivery guy. He was talking about the Tony Stank.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I do remember that. Uatu isn't he Star-Lord's brother?
Good question. That's a good question.
Because Uatu's dad is Ego.
So then maybe.
I'm not sure.
I'm not big on the Celestials or the Eternals at all. These are all blind spots. And the truth is I'm not actually taking the effort to research them because I want to see what the movies are going to give me. With the Avengers, it was easy. I've had like 40 years of comic history at this point, personally. Before that stuff even came out. So
you're going to experience the movie like I do. No idea what the fuck is going on. What's coming up.
What? I'm going to tell you what, as soon as they get to Black Knight, I'll be able to spew out all sorts of history. But the actual Eternals themselves was always like a blind spot for me. I don't have any knowledge on that.
The Ebon Blade?
Yeah, I love the Ebony Blade, bro.
Oh, I did read about that. After you told me about that, I started looking... Or started reading the wiki on that.
Black Knight's boss.
I don't remember.
I like him.
I'm waiting for Kit Harington. The other thing, this is not comic related, but the aesthetic for the show is amazing. I love it. I love the cartoon thing where it's like 80s style or like
60s.
80s, I think.
60s? No, that's 50s.
60s style cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Timekeeper thing. Where they had like the animated, like that was really cool. I love the aesthetic of the show.
You know who did the voice of that girl?
Yeah,
it's Tara Strong.
Tara Strong, okay.
For me, it felt like the Mr. Magoo style, like old school 60s cartoons, like
50s, 60s. Yep.
And
I love everything about this show: set design, costume design, the color palette.
Look like some kind of altered version of like Mad Men.
Mm-hmm.
Like the one guy who was complaining about his cart getting fried and her almost hitting him with the baton. Like he had a tie and a shirt on and it looked normal, but
skinny tie.
The collar of it came out buttoned and then went all the way down his chest. Like it wasn't just a collar. It went like all the way down.
The TVA reminds me of the
version.
Familiar but different.
Yeah, the TVA reminds me of the FBC in the game Control.
I bought that last night because the full version came out. There's a sale going on, by the way. So I'll just say,
Federal Bureau of Control. It's
$15.
Very similar, where it's kind of ambiguous,
Mm-hmm. All right. So, until we start getting more into the meat of the actual story, I don't have any real Easter eggs to bring right now, other than the fact that he was DB Cooper.
Right.
Oh yeah, that was cool. That was funny.
And that was a bet he lost to Thor.
That's interesting.
That's funny.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see.
That's pretty funny.
We'll see what happens.
Oh, Owen Wilson.
Didn't say whoa once. Great. Loved it.
I know, a little disappointing, but he was great. I forgot how good he is.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Like just the way he's so like deadpan about everything, oh, you're doing great, you're doing great, like
Yeah, yes.
very spirited. He's like
Yeah.
running out, like we're really getting somewhere here. Definitely the perfect guy for that role.
He's a fan, yeah.
He's playing off of Tom Hiddleston very well. They're kind of a new dream team.
They are great. I look forward to like seeing their escapades through this season.
So do I.
So, but yeah, so that's our opinions and thoughts on the first episode of Loki. In our segment, a Loki discussion
absolutely hated
about Loki, the new show featuring Loki. You guys ready to give it a review? I'm just kidding.
No,
that's the last episode. No.
I do feel like it's leaning more towards the WandaVision being more of a
slow burn.
No, but a
experimental.
No, I want to say it's not as substantial and meaty as the Falcon and Winter Soldier, not as heavy. It's definitely more lighthearted than that so far. But I can see this thing getting just like WandaVision, towards the end getting a lot more poignant and heavy.
Yeah, I haven't decided whether this is like a personal Loki story or something to move the universe forward. Like Falcon and Winter Soldier was definitely both, where it moved the chains forward, but you needed this to get to the next phase, for both characters, Sam Wilson and Bucky. Here, I don't know, because Loki's out of time and he's supposed to be dead. Like, is this are we supposed to be attached to this personal story, or are we looking for larger world building implications here?
Yeah. And does it turn out that at the end of this, the sacred timeline dictates that this Loki comes back to replace the one that was sacrificed during the Infinity
dead.
War? But reincarnated, maybe Kid Loki.
Well, regardless, he gets to exist still, because current state as a variant, he either needs to be reset or destroyed, right?
Yeah, at the end of
this, even if he does everything good, but what's the motivation for doing that good without a light at the end of the tunnel?
He's not the sacred timeline Loki, is he?
Yeah, he is. This one?
He could be. He could be the that's what I was getting at. Does he now enter into the sacred timeline? Is he supposed to be there? Was this supposed to happen? He was supposed to become a variant because the Avengers were supposed to go back in time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So was he supposed to become a variant and then jump ahead to after Infinity War and become the new Loki that replaces the one that, the one who was, no resurrections this time. Well, he wasn't resurrected. He was, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this is the way around
that
Thanos.
Theory. That's interesting.
It's just something to think about.
Yeah, it's
he's a fan
possible.
favorite, so no one would complain if he came back.
Yeah, it's entirely possible he finagles himself back like a couple of days after Endgame or some shit like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yep. As you can see, I'm wearing the same thing as I was wearing in the video of this. So I'm recording the same day, which means I'm getting my work done. What's good? Oh, I'm sorry for the light. But yeah, Palm Angels. Thanks for checking us out. Hit a link in the description to join our Discord and check out our other stuff. Like, subscribe, do that thing. There's some more videos over here to my left. It's gonna be the opposite. To my left, that you might want to check out, because we do stuff other times. Yeah, so stay tuned for more Loki information, and then also there's gonna be like podcast stuff. But anyway, hope to see you around. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming to the party. Peace.